This is Pop Culture Man Children. It is a show that consists of two grown men, who sit in either a basement or a bedroom and talk to you about things that they like. And maybe you like them as well.
Yeah.
It can deal with anything in the pop culture realm, from toys to movies to professional wrestling to comic books to toys again.
Yeah.
It always circles around toys because that's what we like.
Yeah.
We like our little plastic figures that
Our
we can
plastic
play
gods.
with. Our little plastic gods that we can play with.
Yeah.
It's all about toys, guys. Who needs interpersonal connections and relationships when we have you, the pop culture babies, and our toys?
Absolutely.
So for more information on who we are and what we do, please go to our Instagram page at Pop Culture Man Children. There's also a link on there. You click the link, and it takes you to the iTunes. And you can rate, review, and subscribe all on iTunes. Give us a 5-star review.
Yep.
Tell them, hey, you guys are all right.
Please.
You're not neckbeardy. Because we
Not
wage
us.
an endless war on the neckbeards.
Not us.
I am looking at Mr. Michael Bongiorno.
This person over here to my left is Emilio Sparks Esquire.
Hi.
Welcome to a mini episode. It's like regular episodes, but they're smaller.
Smaller.
They're
more
mini.
condensed.
They're tiny. What is today's mini about?
Looney Tunes.
Really?
I wanted to talk about Looney Tunes. I think that we don't give classic cartoons or cartoons that I think shape the landscape of American culture in a way. I don't think we give them their just due. Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny, I think they get passed over a lot.
Is Bugs your favorite? Who's your favorite Looney Tune?
Oh, I like Daffy Duck.
Which Daffy? Latter-day sarcastic Daffy?
Oh, no, I loved Looney.
Yeah, me
Absolute
too.
Bonkers Daffy Duck.
Original, completely insane Daffy.
Yeah, I didn't like the fact that they made him Bugs' equal, which I understand because if you think Looney Tunes, you think Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Tasmanian Devil. It's a weird holy magi.
Yeah.
Like that out of nowhere.
Actually, I don't know if I'd do that. I think I would go...
All right, so in your Looney Tunes or Merry Melodies hierarchy, how does it go?
I think I'd go Bugs, Daffy, Porky. And then even like Elmer.
See, I would
Taz
go,
is up there, obviously.
But see, I think you know about Taz because there was
Tasmania. Down in Tasmania.
There was a resurgence in the 90s with Tasmania.
Where his dad was Bing Crosby for some reason.
Have some OJ. Listen, they really had a hold, I feel, on the idea of cartoons from 1930 to about 1969. To me, it beats out anything Disney was doing cartoon-wise when they would put them on before movies.
Exactly. For the young listener, you should know that even though you've seen them online and on television, that Looney Tunes and the original Disney shorts were all theatrical. You'd go, you'd see a couple of cartoons, you'd see a newsreel, you'd see a feature film, maybe you'd see a B film, and then the whole thing would happen again. So these were shown in theaters. The thing that's better about Looney Tunes than the Mickey stuff is Mickey stuff was kind of cute.
Silly symphonies.
Yeah, it was cute and there was good animation, but the Looney Tunes was funnier. You could actually laugh out loud, and it was also more violent. There would be times when people would just pull out a gun and shoot someone in the face, and it's still funny.
Well, yeah. I mean, Looney Tunes, the name was inspired by Disney's musical Silly Symphonies, and they initially showcased...
Oh, really?
Yeah, they initially showcased Warner-owned music compositions. Because you also got to remember, Warner Brothers was also a record label. They still are a record label.
Right.
So they had...
Warner Chappell, I think, is the biggest record corporation, right?
Yes.
Or music corporation.
It's one of the biggest, yes.
So you're telling me it was called Merry Melodies because it would feature...
It was called Looney Tunes.
Oh, right.
And then Merry Melodies came.
Well, both of those are referencing music. Like, I don't understand why are they called that.
Why are they called Looney Tunes?
Yeah, or
it was the play on the Silly Symphonies. That's why they're called that.
But then
There's no
Merry
reason.
Melodies. What does Merry Melodies mean?
The melodies, they used to do the original components to the music.
I'm not getting you.
Okay, so like when...
Would there be musical numbers in the...
No, instead of dialogue at certain times, there would be just music. And they would have whatever slapstick or folly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's what it was.
Okay. Do you know what I found out that blew my mind?
What?
The Looney Tunes theme, which is called "The Merry-Go-Round Broke Down," actually has lyrics. It's, "Oh, the merry-go-round broke down, and we went round and round. Each time we'd miss, we'd steal a kiss, and the merry-go-round went papa, 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 papa. The merry-go-round broke down, and it made the darndest sound. The lights went low, and we said, oh, and the merry-go-round went papa." Papa. Blew my mind when I found out that, because it was a big band song. I actually found an old recording of it. Now we only think of that as that's the Looney Tunes song.
I think that comes down to when the merry-go-round broke down. I think that comes from, I want to say that they owned it because they have such a vast music library. You got to remember, they acquired Bushwick Records in 29, I want to say. And that's when they wanted to start to compete with the Mickey Mouse short cartoons. And I think they bought like Bushwick Records for like $28 million, which would be now with inflation about $400.
Yeah.
And they wanted to promote the sales of their sheet music and phonograph records.
Right.
So they decided to...
Sheet music was the music industry before records.
Huge. It was huge back then. So they were like, okay, let's produce cartoons and use the sheet music so that way if people wanted it, they could buy it.
Okay.
That's why Looney Tunes was started, because they wanted to make back the $28 million that they spent in Bushwick Records.
Interesting. And they're all basically the same voice, right? Like one guy did every voice?
Well, it goes like this. Once they started to gain popularity, the studio rose to better fame. They were like, okay, let's hire Tex Avery. Let's hire Chuck Jones.
And these were directors?
They were two directors that pretty much, to me, changed the game. They were a game changer.
Okay.
And then you put in Mel Blanc, who did the voices from 42
Isn't
to
it
64.
Blanc?
I don't know. I think
you go French with it.
Well, Matt LeBlanc.
But the La is French.
Yeah, but
I've always heard Mel Blanc.
Is it Mel Blanc?
I don't know. You know, they call him a man of 1,000 voices.
Yeah, but why?
It's more like 17. I mean,
he would also do sound effects.
Yes, he would.
So I think that's a voice.
He's no Don Mezek, though.
I think he's better than Mezek. Here's a fun fact. Otis, the town drunk from Andy Griffith,
Sure.
was the original voice of Elmer Fudd.
Wait, let's give the kids a moment to Google that. So wait, Mel Blanc wasn't even the first person to do those voices?
No. Mel Blanc was the first one to do, like, Bugs and all of them, with the exception of Elmer Fudd.
Okay.
Elmer Fudd was Otis the drunk.
Okay. Elmer Fudd also changed. Like, he went from... Originally, he was fatter. He looked more like W.C. Fields.
Yeah.
And then he got...
Well, Blanc later on did the voice because Otis the town drunk passed away.
I don't think people realize, like, it wasn't always the same. Like, Bugs... Even Bugs originally looked different. And even Bugs originally, like the original Daffy Duck, was just insane. Like, that's probably why they changed Daffy, because original Bugs and original Daffy were very similar. It was somebody's hunting them, and they're going to fucking be nuts and drive the hunter insane.
Yeah, but then both of them changed, though, too.
Well, as Bugs...
As the popularity rose, because those Merry Melodies and Looney Tunes were the most popular animated shorts in movie theaters.
But I think Bugs changed less.
You think so?
Yeah, because Daffy had a big change. He came kind of an asshole.
In terms of pop culture, I think Bugs Bunny became the standalone. You know what I mean? Like, he is Warner Brothers' version of Mickey Mouse.
Absolutely.
I mean, when you think of Mickey Mouse, you also have to think in the back of your mind Bugs Bunny. When you think Bugs Bunny, in the back of your mind, Mickey Mouse pops up.
Right. When they did Roger Rabbit, Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse both appear in the same scene, and it's because through harsh negotiations, they came to a point where both Disney and Warner Brothers were like, he can't have more screen time than I can, which is why they appear together in the same scene for the exact same amount of time, because Warner didn't want Mickey having more screen time, and Disney didn't want Bugs having more screen time.
I like Bugs over Mickey.
So do I.
There's no question.
I mean,
Mickey's not cunning.
He's not funny. I mean, but he's good for what he is, but he's not, Mickey's not doing Peter Lorre impressions.
Now, I wonder, does Mickey Mouse have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? Because Bugs Bunny does.
Mickey has to.
You think so?
Oh, my God, he has to. Bugs does, though?
Yeah.
Do people shit on it the way they shit on Donald Trump's?
No. I think that prestige is just for the Donald.
Yeah.
Now, he also has an Academy Award.
Bugs?
Yeah.
For what?
2 animated shorts that are considered the greatest animated cartoons of all time that feature Bugs Bunny.
Really?
Yeah.
What are they?
Nighty Night Bugs.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was called For Sentimental Reasons.
I don't know those, unless I just don't recognize the names.
Nighty Night Bugs consists of Bugs Bunny playing a court jester in King Arthur's court. Bugs has to recover the singing sword from Yosemite Sam, who plays the Black Knight.
I think I do remember this.
It's really funny.
Do you have a favorite short?
I watch them on television.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll sit there and watch. I'll be like, oh, the one with the monster when he does the hair.
Hair-raising hair.
Yeah, like, that's a good one. Duck Season, Rabbit Season is a really good one.
Right.
The dynamic between Tweety and Sylvester is good.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get better than that. Foghorn Leghorn and the dog is real good.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with Wile E. and the Roadrunner.
Right.
Which, to me, I think those are some of the best in terms of creative ingenuity and imagination because they're not talking.
There's just silent films.
It pretty much is a silent film, and that's why the intellectual properties come in with the original compositions owned by Warner, because they have the music for certain instrumentation and orchestras that they play during those specifically.
By the way, I do have a favorite short.
What is it?
And it's not one of the ones with the characters we've talked about. My favorite short is One Froggy Evening. It stars the frog that I guess older people will know as he was the mascot for the WB for a long time. It's a little bit like Fight Club. It's about a guy who's a construction worker, and he's working on a building, and he finds a box. And inside the box, he finds a frog.
Yeah.
And the frog starts singing.
Yep.
And the guy doesn't speak. The only speaking we hear in it is from the frog. And first the frog sings, "Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal," which is the thing that people remember most. But then he also sings, "Everybody's doing the Michigan rag." And he tries to make money off of the singing frog, but when he brings him in front of other people, he just robot.
Yeah.
And it's hard to describe it, but if you go and watch it, you will laugh because the timing is amazing. And because there'll be a scene where he'll try to get the frog to do something, to speak. Like he goes into an agent's office and he shows the frog to the agent, and the frog does nothing. And then the agent throws him out the front door, and as he throws him out the front door, the frog jumps out of the box and starts singing immediately at that moment. And the timing is just brilliant, and the look on the guy's face when the frog sings is hilarious. It's just such a brilliantly constructed short. That's definitely my favorite.
They came in and they created Porky Pig.
So when we think of
so
what we think of as classic Looney Tunes is actually like the second reboot of Looney Tunes.
Yes, because the first...
Because they're a new direction.
From 30 to 33, it was Bosco and Buddy. From 33 to 36, it was Porky Pig, it was Beans the Cat.
Beans the Cat.
Yeah, there was an owl. I mean,
Fuck
there was
that.
nothing. So then you got Daffy Duck in 37. You got Elmer Fudd in 40. You know,
really?
you got Bugs Bunny in 40.
So Daffy Duck was created before Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
That I did not know.
Then it goes to 44 to 64, which is the golden age. Tweety comes in 42.
Okay.
Sylvester comes in 45.
Wait, can I stop you here?
Yeah.
Our fans might not realize this, and I feel like you're a rap fan, so you'll know more.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time in the 90s where there was a weird intersection
Yes.
between hip-hop and Looney Tunes. You could be like the toughest guy but have like a Tweety t-shirt. And what was that about?
You would see the Wu-Tang Clan wear
With like a Sylvester shirt. Like why?
it was just one of those things. I guess that's when they started to really understand the intellectual property that they had and that they could make
Put
money
them on shirts
it,
and stuff.
Put it on everything.
It's just a weird.
I
It
think
was a
they
weird
merchandised.
intersection. It was a weird intersection of cultures.
The 90s, hip-hop became the popular music.
Right. And the 90s, I think, is when the Warner Brothers store happened.
Yeah. So they were like, we need gear. We got to tap into the youth culture. We got to tap into the youth movement.
Yeah. It's a weird Venn diagram.
Let's put Bugs and Daffy in crisscross-looking shirts where they're wearing backwards clothing.
Absolutely, we will. God, when I think of t-shirts like that, I think of like the Jersey Shore and like going to like those t-shirt shops.
But I want those shirts, though.
Oh,
now, I had them.
Of course you did.
I remember I had and I wore this
It was
thing.
cred.
And I wore this thing to death. It was a purple face picture
Penguin?
of...
Some of the Penguin.
No. It was a face picture on a purple T-shirt of Wile E. Coyote.
Right.
And I thought this thing was so badass. It was just him.
It probably was. How old were you?
I was in the 4th grade.
You were probably the coolest motherfucker in the 4th grade.
There was a lot of motherfuckers wearing those shirts, though.
Yeah.
Not mine.
Yeah.
Mine was purple, and I stood out.
Yes.
But they had a lot of... There was a Tasmanian Devil one. I remember my buddy David wore that. I remember these 2 twins I was cool with, the Alholm brothers. They wore matching Bugs Bunny ones. I mean, there was a...
So you had a crew.
Oh, there was a who's who in Public School 21 who wore these shirts.
Yeah. Very cool.
Oh, yeah. There was a who's who. I think there's a photo circulating somewhere around my house. I have to find it.
I definitely need to see that.
I will put it on the Pop Culture Man Children Instagram page if I find
definitely need to see that.
I definitely will. But yeah, man, that golden age had Yosemite Sam, Foghorn Leghorn. Everything in the 40s that we know now was created. Like, legitimately. Speedy Gonzales came in 53.
Yosemite Sam.
Tasmanian Devil was 54. Why didn't you like...
Oh, wow, that's so much later. That's 20 years after Daffy. When did they start editing shorts together to make features? Like, I remember there was like the Bugs and Daffy movie, which was really just shorts edited together, and they animated new interstitial, like, in-betweens to try to make a narrative. Like, my favorite was Quackbusters, which was like Ghostbusters, but with the Looney Tunes characters. And it was just a bunch of the...
Oh, that was in the 70s.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in the 70s when they did that.
Yeah, they would really do chop jobs on them.
They would do a mixture of new and old footage.
And you'd hear the voice change.
Well, no, Mel Blanc did all the voices.
But I'm thinking specifically like Quackbusters. Like, it's a scene in the overall narrative where the Quackbusters send Porky to go stay at a haunted house, and then like when we get into him in the haunted house, like in the next cut, his voice sounds different, or at least maybe just the sound recording sounded different.
I think the technology advanced in sound recording. So that
but I'm sure as Mel aged, the voices changed a little bit in timbre as well.
Oh yeah. His voice would either get softer with certain ones. Like Yosemite Sam was harder to do in his old age.
He could only do him alone. Like, if they were recording, like, it's got to be Yosemite Sam Day or anybody else.
It would only be one day. Would have to be Yosemite Sam.
And was he Fred Flintstone too?
He was Barney Rubble in the beginning.
He was Barney.
Yeah. And the crazy part about it is he is the only one where it says voice characterizations by. Nobody else would get top billing. Like, nobody got it because they didn't pay them that well back then. But it worked for him.
Well, he really acted. I mean, like, it's more than voices. There's performance there, and I don't mean to put down voices. I mean, there's great people now, like, you know, John DiMaggio and Phil LaMarche, but he pioneered like acting with your voice.
All right, think of it like this.
Billy West is great now.
Listen, I'm gonna run down some names. Okay. This is what he did: Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, Tweety Bird, Sylvester the Cat, Yosemite Sam, Foghorn Leghorn, Melvin the Martian, Pepe Le Pew, Speedy Gonzales, Wile E. Coyote, the Roadrunner.
He only spoke once, though, Wile E. Coyote.
The Tasmanian Devil. Later on, he did Elmer Fudd. He also did voices he did Barney Rubble.
Yes.
And he did Mr. Spacely. And he was the original voice on Woody Woodpecker, and he did all the sound effects for Tom and Jerry cartoons.
Never really liked Tom and Jerry, to be honest with you.
I thought it had the same violence as Looney Tunes. I thought it was great.
To me, it wasn't as good. I would prefer a Tweety Sylvester. That dynamic was better.
I don't know. I mean,
they're both the same thing of like, I'm gonna kill you, and we both are in this domestic setting. But I don't know. I just liked Tweety and Sylvester more. I liked the way that Tweety would taunt Sylvester,
and they enabled each other.
And then you had Granny there.
They needed each other.
Oh, well, they were in us. Much like Batman and the Joker, they were stuck in a sick psychosexual thing together.
They were going to do this forever. But yeah, no, man, I think Mel, got the credit that he deserved, and he was the first one. It kind of broke a barrier for voice actors because it says voice characterizations by Mel Blanc. Or Blanc, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
And, he started his career.
When did he die?
89, dude.
So he missed the Tiny Toons... the relaunch.
Yeah, he missed all that, and by 89, it was just different. Like, the voice of Bugs Bunny changed after that. It just wasn't the same, man.
I don't know
if it took a turn. Like, the 90s, it hurt. Even now, today, man, like, when they air the stuff on Cartoon Network, it's just not the same.
Does Billy West still do it? I know that he did it for a long time in the 90s. He did Space Jam, which I remember liking as a kid, Space Jam.
Yeah.
I was an anti-Space Jam.
No, Space Jam was great. I mean, it was the only time you got Michael Jordan to act in anything.
Right. And he could not, was what we learned.
I didn't think he was that bad.
No, look back. He's the worst part of that movie.
Without Michael Jordan, Space Jam doesn't happen. Without Michael Jordan,
I'm saying he's not a good actor.
We don't get the Space Jam sneakers.
He's no Mandy Moore. He's not a good actor.
He didn't need to be, though. Michael just needed to be the foil.
He just needed to make money to get out of some gambling debts.
But without Michael Jordan, Space Jam wouldn't be as big because, listen, who was bigger in the 90s
Well,
than
that's
Michael
a movie
Jordan?
based on a McDonald's cup.
Which is fine. And that just shows the power of capitalism.
I'm not anti-Michael Jordan. I'm just saying his acting leaves a bit to be desired.
Which is fine because it's a children's movie. And then,
Bill Murray's good in that movie.
Listen.
So is Newman.
But all right, so here's the thing, though. You take the star who may be weak in this one thing, but he's a megastar, and you surround him with a cast
of animated cartoons
and live-action actors that could pick up the slack. Just like Jordan would do on the basketball court. You give him key role players that can't be the star, and they all have magic.
I don't think movies work that way.
You don't think so?
Yeah.
Rocky didn't work that way?
He's a good actor. We'll see when we see Solo, the Solo, and we see that awful guy who's the new Han Solo and how bad he is. We'll see if we can make that work.
It's all about the ensemble cast, man. I'm telling you.
If you have a central performer that is not good, I think it'll sink the whole thing.
I don't think so. I think if you have stronger actors around you, it cushions the blow.
I think
because you maximize the strength and minimize the weakness. So Michael Jordan in Space Jam wasn't, as you say, a breakout star.
Well, that's not about star. It's about he can't deliver a line.
He was playing Michael Jordan.
Yeah, but he
didn't
couldn't
have
do
to play anything else.
Yeah, but he had to have some real emotion in his voice. He sounded like a guy reading words on a page. You know what movie gets overlooked?
What?
Looney Tunes Back in Action, directed by Joe Dante, the director of Gremlins.
I didn't think it was all that.
I liked it. I liked it better than Space Jam.
Why?
It seemed to be more in the spirit of Looney Tunes. I actually liked that movie. And one of the best Hollywood stories ever came from that movie. And this would be a good story to go out on. So if you know anything about movie production, it's sort of a cliche that the suit men, the money men, they don't know what they're talking about. They just make suggestions because they've got to prove that they are useful in the process, and they've got to basically earn the fact that they have a desk. So they'll come to you with notes, and a director knows how to take notes or to throw away notes, and sometimes notes are completely stupid. So Joe Dante, the great director of Gremlins and The Howling, and he directed Looney Tunes Back in Action. And he got a note from a studio executive, which he now has framed in his house. And the note says, "Who's this Doc that Bugs Bunny keeps talking about? What does he mean when he's asking about Doc? Can we lose this?" That's a guy who just needs to write something and knows fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Who's this Doc?
So yeah, there's you could do your Googles, or you can watch Cartoon Network at 3 o'clock in the morning.
It's also all on YouTube.
Yeah,
it's almost all on YouTube.
But they air
a lot
them
of those
like
3-hour ones are on YouTube.
But they air them in 3-hour blocks on Cartoon Network. So
wow, they're still around. The content's still around.
I think that goes to show the impact of not necessarily the intellectual power that Warner Brothers has, but I think the impact of these characters. You watch that stuff, and it's more relatable than Fantasia. Or whatever. There's no Disney shorts. You don't see Disney shorts on the Disney Channel. Like, you go to Cartoon Network, which is a Warner Brothers property, you're going to see Warner Brothers cartoons. All right, so you let us know.
Yes.
What you like.
And, send us your pictures of you wearing your Tweety Bird, onesies or whatever.
I have that photo. I will find that photo. I will find a photo of me where I know it's there. I'm in PS21. I'll never forget it. I was in Mr. Bernay's class, one of the coolest teachers I had. And I don't know if it was a collection of all of us. I know there are 2 photos floating around. There's one with me with my arms crossed.
Of course.
With mousse in my hair.
Sure, yeah.
And then there's another one with me and my boys, and we're all wearing Looney Tunes shirts. I'll never forget it. It was like 6 of us. Yeah.
Well, I'm dying to see that.
We wouldn't wear Mickey Mouse shirts.
No.
Except I would wear a vintage Mickey Mouse shirt now, though. But I'd have to cut the sleeves off.
I don't dislike Mickey. It's sort of amazing iconography. You know what I mean? I like the design of Mickey. Yeah, Mickey will have his own episode. We'll do Mickey another time. Do you want to go bye-bye?
I think we should go bye-bye.
Go bye-bye.